we have Hinduism. On page 114, your key words, key terms. Brahman, single spiritual force or power that Hindus believe live in everything. An avatar, which is a representation of a Hindu god or goddess in human or animal form. You have reincarnation, which basically means the rebirth of the soul into other living organisms. Dharma, which is the religious and moral duties of a Hindu person. And ahimsa, which is the Hindu idea of non-violence. Now, what I want to do is just spend a few minutes, me and, I don't know which one this is. Josh, which guy is this, Dopey?
Yeah.
Alright, me and Dopey. Now Dopey here is Dopey. So he's a dummy. So we're going to help him to become educated about Hinduism. We're going to put him down here. Hopefully he'll stay there. And you can see Dopey, and he's going to do some learning while you're doing some learning as well. Alright, so the beginning of Hinduism. Hinduism is a mixture, it's like a soup pot of a whole lot of different stuff. And a lot of different Aryan culture ideas. It's the world's oldest religion because there's no one single founder or creator. It's a mixture of several different groups, several different religions, several different ideas. And it's a big blend. And it's developed over 3,000 to 4,000 years over time. And people believe, in Hindu, people believe that since everyone is different in the world, then your approach to God needs to be different. It's a very personal approach. Hinduism, as I said, has millions and millions of people, not only in India, but certainly around the world. And it is unlike other major world religions in a couple of different ways. First of all, it's polytheistic. It has many different gods, and you have a personal quest to try and find what the importance of that God and your life is to that God as you live here on earth. They do believe, however, even though they're different gods, they believe in one single spiritual power or kind of being that exists and lives in, which lives in everything, and that is called Brahman, B-R-A-H-M-A-N. All right? Hindus believe that there's more than one path to the truth, gaining truth, or finding this Brahman, this single spiritual power that lives in everything. And it's a personal thing, which is why they believe that everybody needs to approach a god or goddess differently, because people are different. So, on page 115, you will see some basic gods and goddesses. It talks a little bit about the Hindu gods Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Now, Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, and Shiva is the destroyer god. Now, when you look at these, the Hindus also insert this idea of something called an avatar. Now, an avatar is probably something that you are all familiar with through mostly technology, because just like we learned about the Rosetta Stone and the idea of technology coming from the Rosetta Stone, the concept of avatar, when you put on, if you go online, if you have, all those Facebook and Twitter, or if you have Xbox and you're playing Xbox, you could pick these images or these representations of you or an idea or a person. These are called avatars. And the Hindus had avatars, which are representations of the Hindu god or goddesses in human or animal form that they worshipped and that they kind of devoted their lives to. All right? Hindu belief is such that Brahma, the god creator, the creator god, was born from a golden egg. He created earth, everything on it. But interestingly enough, he is not as worshipped as largely, according to many Hindu traditions, according to your book, as Vishnu and Shiva. So, if you turn to page 116, Vishnu is a kindly god. It goes through Vishnu and Shiva just briefly and talks about what they are responsible for and what they are like. Some are responsible for destructive forces. Some are responsible for kindness. And on page 117, it talks a little bit about the teachings of Hinduism. And it touches predominantly on the Upanishads, reincarnation, and a Hindu's duty. Now, a Hindu's, or let me start off with the Upanishads. The Upanishads are found on page 117. Let me kind of adjust this here. They are found on page 117, and where is my, there we go. I'm going to kind of come out here. I feel like I'm There we go. There's Dopey. The Upanishads are found on page 117, and they are a form. They are one of the religious texts. Now, you remember from the Aryans, the Vedas, or the religious texts, the Upanishads, or a form or one type of religious text, and it's a sitting near a teacher, or means sitting near a teacher. And it's the process of actually learning different Hindu ideas and beliefs through a series of questions and answers. Okay, so the pupils ask questions, and the teacher responds, and the pupil continues asking questions, and the teacher responds, and the student continues asking questions, until finally there's this constant dialogue or discussion about what life is and what it's about and why the Hindu believe what they do believe. Okay? You have to understand that in their mind, Brahman has no physical form. It's more of a spiritual aspect or spiritual power. Except when you talk about humans in Hinduism, you touch on the idea of reincarnation. Now, one important idea in the Upanishad is this idea of reincarnation and rebirth of the soul. Now, the rebirth of the soul, the Hindus believe that if you live a good life, then you will essentially be reincarnated or reborn. Your soul will be reborn into something positive or higher form of life or a higher social class or caste. And if you did not really do a good job living, if you're kind of not a goodie but a baddie, if you're kind of meanie, if you're a bully and not a buddy, because you should be a buddy and not a bully, then ultimately you will end up being reincarnated or reborn into the lower class. So you could be like a cockroach, you could be like a dopey, like this guy, you could be like Josh's cat over there, right?
Hey.
Right, Tinkerbell?
We need my cat.
Here. Josh's cat. You can see the cat. See the cat? Tinker. Anyway, that's Josh's cat, Tinkerbell. Surprised she's not screaming for food. Surprised she's not a fatty from all the food she tries to get. Anyway, so you could end up being reborn into some type of lower life, like a kitty cat, although some of you might think that's higher life, depending on where you are now as a middle school student. I don't know, I guess it depends on your perspective. So, if you get the point where you can live a perfect life, or a near perfect life, then ultimately you might be freed from this, and your soul will become one with Brahman. That is the belief. How that happens ultimately, who decides perfect? Each Hindu kind of works through that with their god and goddesses, and they're always trying to strive or attain for better. That's the concept, that's the idea, that's the belief. And it's a good concept. We should all be striving to be better than we were yesterday, or smarter than we were last week, or 2 weeks ago, or a month ago, right? All right, good, here we go. Ready, Dopey? Good. Okay, so, Hindus' duties. Dharma is a religious and moral duties of each person. In other words, there are certain expectations on how they should act and things they should do, and these duties depend on a person's class, they depend on a person's age, occupation, and ultimately your dharma is how you should live your life in response and relation to other people. That's the bottom line. Okay? In Hinduism, it's a man's duty, for example, to protect his family, protect his wife. It's a ruler's idea to protect his subjects, a business owner's concept or duty to protect his workers, and ultimately the idea behind that is everybody protects one another so extremely that this concept of ahimsa comes along. And on page 117 you will notice that ahimsa is the concept of nonviolence. So in other words, Hindus believe that people and living things are part of Brahman, so there is absolutely no destruction or killing of any living thing, because you would then be hurting or destroying a piece of or a part of that Brahman spiritual being, spiritual power that lives and breathes in everything. All right? Now, this is Mr. Lang's condensed version. There are a lot more details if you can go along. If you look on page 182, or sorry, 182. I don't even know my own alphabet. Alphabet, get it? We're doing numbers, alphabet, never mind. Okay, so page 118, the practice of Hinduism, talks about yoga, not yogurt. I do have some yogurt in the fridge. I might have some little something later. Actually, I'll get it later. Yoga means union, and yoga is the idea of meditation. And you will remember from the video that we watched that there were forms of meditation using a sitar, which is an old school version of a guitar, and there were mantras, which were chants or prayers to meditate. There were Hindu songs, and if you look in your notes, you'll find all of those topics from the video that we watched, and you should go over those as well. I'm telling you right now, I'm warning you now, go over those ideas and those concepts. A couple of little smattering, 1, 2Z, 3Zs, maybe 4Zs, kinds of questions on there about the video. So if you didn't see the video, you need to get the notes from someone, okay? There wasn't much there. It was only 10 or 15 minutes, but still important to know. So yoga, the concept of meditation, and ultimately private devotion, which is found on 118. Hindus worshiping in public by praying, performing rituals, going to temple, washing in the river Ganges we talked about, who was purify the soul. The idea of the river it was poured forth from heaven to purify part of the earth. And Hindus' ultimate devotion to their God brings them closer to Brahman and closer to achieving that spiritual peace and that spiritual power that exists in everything, and hopefully breaking the cycle of reincarnation over and over again. All right? All right. So there you have it. That's the end of section 1. I know 1 and 2, and I know I've said it many times. Make sure you go over vocabulary. Make sure you ask me questions before the test day. Make sure you go over the comprehension and critical thinking. Make sure you make little flashcards. Make sure you watch these videos. Make sure that you go over your notes. Make sure that you reread sections in the chapter. And make sure you talk to each other, and maybe go on Quizlet or some other random way of helping and sharing one another with information. And if you do that, you will be in good shape. Now, if you don't do that, you may not be in the greatest shape, but I can say this. Make sure that you just stay on top of all of your daily work. And ultimately, in the end, you'll be fine. Even if you struggle with a test or a quiz from time to time, you will be okay. Okay? This class it's a marathon. In other words, it's assignment after assignment, and if you kind of booger up 1 or 2, it's fine. You'll be okay. If there's a pattern of messing things up and you're really not putting forth the effort, then it becomes a problem. All right? All right. Don't be a dopey. Be a Buddha. Buddhism. Okay? If you haven't watched that section, you will be watching it soon. And that's about it. All right. Thanks again, Josh, very much.
Welcome.
All right. He says you're welcome. I'm going to go grab me maybe a yogurt, not yoga, and some type of maybe a juice box or something like that, and clean up the kitchen because it's a disaster. Good luck. I will talk to you all soon, and I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.